There is a curious truth about human progress and personal greatness that has echoed through every generation. The men and women who alter the course of their lives, and often the lives of countless others, are rarely welcomed with applause in the beginning. More often than not, they are ridiculed, doubted, and dismissed as dreamers detached from reality. Their families whisper, their friends shake their heads, and society brands them with one simple word: crazy. But if you look closely, history tells us that every breakthrough, every towering achievement, every triumph that reshaped the world first wore the disguise of madness. What is deemed impossible today becomes obvious tomorrow. What is ridiculed today becomes respected tomorrow. What is mocked today becomes the very standard of greatness. And the reason is simple: society measures everything against the limited scope of average. The extraordinary has always been misunderstood by the ordinary. Think about the Wright brothers, toiling away in a dusty workshop, building contraptions of wood and cloth that the world said would never fly. Learned men of their time insisted that flight was impossible, and to attempt it was the height of folly. They were called dreamers, eccentrics, fools. Yet, when they lifted off from the sands of Kitty Hawk, they rewrote the laws of possibility, and the world has never looked back. Consider Thomas Edison, whose thousands of failed experiments were not seen as persistence, but as proof that he had lost his reason. And yet, with each attempt, he inched closer to a discovery that would illuminate the world. Each of these men bore the same mark in their time. They were called crazy, and yet in the end they were celebrated as geniuses. That word crazy has always been the price tag society attaches to vision, discipline, and the audacity to believe. You see, the world is quick to ridicule what it cannot yet understand, and quicker still to applaud once the fruits of success become undeniable. The masses cannot see what you see when you hold a vision in your mind. They are bound by the chains of habit, of conformity, of fear. They believe only in what has already been proven, what has already been accepted. But the person who seeks to rise above mediocrity must learn to see beyond the visible. He must learn to hold in his mind a picture of the future so vivid, so alive, that it guides his actions in the present like a compass. This ability to see what is not yet real and to act upon it with faith and discipline is what separates the haves from the have-nots, the victors from the victims, the creators from the crowd. And because it is rare, it is misunderstood. The irony is that those who mock you for your vision are the very same people who years later will ask you how you did it. They will say, "I always believed in you," when in truth they doubted you at every step. This is the rhythm of human nature. People fear what they cannot measure, and so they attack it with laughter, with criticism, with dismissal, and yet you must not resent them for it. Understand that they are prisoners of their own limited thinking. They are doing what average minds have always done, resisting change. But if you are to win, if you are to build the life you desire, you must rise above their noise. You must learn to walk forward even when the world jeers. You must learn to carry within you a confidence so quiet, so steady, that no ridicule can pierce it. The great law of life is that we become what we think about. This is not a theory, it is not a suggestion, it is a law as certain as gravity. The mind, like fertile soil, cannot help but grow what is planted in it. Plant fear, doubt, and limitation, and your harvest will be small, bitter, and unsatisfying. Plant courage, vision, and determination, and your harvest will be abundant, rich, and lasting. This law is not reserved for the few, it applies equally to all. And it is here that most men and women falter. They allow the seeds of others' opinions to be sown in their minds. They permit ridicule to plant weeds of doubt, and those weeds choke out their vision. But the man who guards his mind, who deliberately plants only what he chooses and tends it daily with persistence, cannot help but reap success in due season. So the challenge, dear friend, is not to win the approval of the crowd, but to win the battle of your own thoughts. Your success does not hinge on what they call you, but on what you call yourself in the silence of your own mind. If you think like the masses, you will live like the masses. If you dare to think independently, courageously, and faithfully, you will live a life that looks nothing like theirs. But make no mistake, the moment you resolve to rise above average, you will be called names, you will be doubted, and yes, you will be called crazy. This is not a curse, it is confirmation that you are on the right path. Do not shrink from it. Do not apologize for it. Embrace it. Wear it as a badge of honor. The very resistance you face from others is the signal that you are moving in the direction of growth. If no one doubts you, it is because you are not stretching far enough. If no one calls you crazy, it is because your vision is too small. Understand that ridicule is not the end of the road, it is the beginning. The laughter of others is merely the sound of chains rattling as they try to hold you back. And yet no chain can bind the man who has decided to be free in his own thinking. I want you to take a sheet of paper and write this down, for it will serve as a reminder when the voices of doubt grow loud. Write, I am one with vision and strength. I am free of doubt and limitation. Repeat it, not once, not twice, but until it begins to echo in the corridors of your mind. Say it in the morning when you rise, say it at night when you rest, and say it in the very moments when others laugh. Let it remind you that greatness begins in thought, and thought is yours alone to govern. So yes, they will call you crazy. They will whisper it behind your back. They will say it with mocking tones. They will dress it up as advice. They will mask it as concern. But you must know what it truly is. It is the world's admission that you are daring to live differently. It is their confession that you have chosen a road they were too fearful to walk. And in time, if you persist, if you hold fast to your vision, if you refuse to let their doubts poison your faith, the same voices that mocked you will one day fall silent, and their silence will be the sound of your victory. And as we continue, let us press deeper into the nature of this word, crazy, and why it so often becomes the cloak that visionaries must wear. You see, the world has built its patterns around predictability. Most men wake at the same time, travel the same routes, work at the same tasks, complain of the same burdens, and then rest in the same quiet despair. It is a cycle repeated endlessly without pause, without examination. The one who dares to break that cycle, to step off the treadmill of habit, instantly becomes suspect. He is no longer predictable. He is no longer bound by the invisible chains that hold the crowd. And the crowd cannot forgive this difference because it shines a light on their own resignation. To call you crazy is their way of covering their unease, their way of quieting the nagging suspicion that they too could have chosen more. Think of the young man who decides not to follow the expected path of working for wages alone, but instead invests in himself, his education, or a small business. His friends say, why take the risk? Why not stay safe? Why not play it the way everyone else does? They will call his risk-taking foolishness, when in truth it is courage. Or think of the woman who refuses to stay in an environment of mediocrity, who leaves behind comfort for the uncertainty of chasing her dream. People shake their heads, they whisper behind her back, they cannot understand why she would abandon the known for the unknown, yet it is precisely in the unknown that all growth and opportunity reside. What they call crazy is often nothing more than the willingness to bet on oneself, and that is something the average man has never done. It is important to understand, however, that to be called crazy is not itself a guarantee of greatness. Some men are called crazy because they are reckless, irresponsible, or delusional, but the distinction lies here. The visionary has reason, discipline, and purpose guiding his so-called madness. He is not running blindly into chaos. He is walking deliberately toward a future that only he can see. This is why he endures, while the pretender fades. The true visionary harnesses the law of cause and effect. He understands that his thoughts, planted daily with care and consistency, will inevitably bear fruit. The world may not see the harvest yet, but he already sees the seed in the ground, and he knows the law. As you sow, so shall you reap. Now let me ask you a question. Do you have the courage to be misunderstood? Can you endure the laughter, the whispers, the doubts? Because that is the price of entry into the realm of the extraordinary. If you cannot bear to stand alone, you will never stand at all. If you must have the applause of others before you act, you will remain forever chained to their approval. And that approval is fickle. It shifts with the winds. It disappears at the first sign of challenge. The man or woman who wins in life does not live by applause. They live by principle. They live by laws that are unchanging. And one such law is this: we become what we think about. You may dismiss it, you may ignore it, but if you test it, if you write it down and repeat it daily, you will see its power unfold before your very eyes. Write it down now. If you have a piece of paper before you, we become what we think about. Say it out loud. Whisper it if you must, but let the words pass your lips so they sink deeper into your consciousness. This law is the foundation upon which every victory is built. It is why the dreamer becomes the doer, why the so-called crazy man becomes the creator, why the misunderstood becomes the admired. Because while the world is busy recycling its doubts, he is busy planting his vision. While the world rehearses fear, he rehearses faith. While the world conforms, he creates. You may wonder, but what about failure? What about the ridicule I cannot escape? Let me answer you clearly. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process of success. Those who call you crazy when you stumble will say, I told you so, but you must hear their words for what they are, an echo of their own limitations. Do not allow their voices to become your inner voice. Failure is fertilizer. It enriches the soil of your mind. It teaches you lessons that success never could. Edison's thousands of attempts were failures, yes, but only to the shallow eye. To the wise they were steps, necessary steps toward light. Each so-called failure carried within it the seed of progress, and the ridicule of others could not drown out his persistence. So here is the law for this moment, and I want you to take it, write it, and repeat it. I will think only of the results I desire, never of the fears that try to hold me back. Say it slowly. Let it carve itself into your mind. Say it when the world doubts you. Say it when you doubt yourself. And say it until you no longer need to remind yourself, because it has become who you are. The crowd cannot understand this. They do not live by laws, they live by moods. They rise when others cheer them on, and they fall when others mock them. But you are different. You are learning to rise above moods, above ridicule, above the ebb and flow of popular opinion. You are learning to anchor your life in principles that do not change. This is what it means to be misunderstood, to be doubted, to be called crazy. It means you are walking a road few have the courage to travel. And it is this road that leads inevitably to victory. And when that victory comes, and it will, the same voices that laughed will fall silent. The same hands that pointed in ridicule will reach out in admiration, and they will ask you how you did it. And you will know in that moment that it was not their approval you needed. It was your own faith, your own discipline, your own persistence that carried you across the finish line. Now let us turn to a truth that few dare to confront directly: the price of winning. It is not given freely, nor is it won cheaply. Every great victory has been purchased with sacrifice. The man who desires freedom must sacrifice comfort. The woman who desires excellence must sacrifice distraction. The individual who desires mastery must sacrifice mediocrity. This is the unchanging law of life. Something must be given up so that something greater can be gained. And this, more than anything else, is why the world calls visionaries crazy, because they watch you let go of what they cling to, and they cannot understand it. They see you sacrificing time that could be spent in leisure, sacrificing money that could be spent on pleasures, sacrificing approval that could be won through conformity. To them, this looks like madness. To you, it is simply the exchange rate of greatness. You see, society is addicted to immediacy. It wants the reward without the process, the applause without the effort, the harvest without the planting. And so when you live by principle instead of appetite, when you trade short-term comfort for long-term gain, you become an outlier. They say, why work late into the night when you could relax like everyone else? They say, why study when you could be entertained? Why save when you could spend? Why risk when you could stay safe? And they call you crazy because you are refusing the narcotic of ease. But what they do not see is that the price of ease is far higher than the price of discipline. Ease costs you your future. Discipline costs you only your comfort. And when the day of reckoning comes, when they are left with nothing but regret, you will be standing with the fruits of your labor in hand. Winning then requires not only vision and persistence, but also sacrifice. The man who wishes to climb a mountain cannot carry every possession with him. He must choose carefully, discarding the unnecessary so that he may ascend. In the same way, you must decide what you will let go of in order to rise. Old habits, old fears, old associations, these must be left behind. The crowd will not understand. They will say you have changed. They will call you selfish. They will accuse you of pride. But you must remember, you cannot carry everyone else's approval and still climb your own mountain. You must be willing to bear the loneliness of sacrifice, for it is temporary. The fruits of that sacrifice, however, are permanent. Let me tell you this: sacrifice is not loss. It is investment. The student who studies while others play is not losing playtime. He is investing in his future mastery. The entrepreneur who reinvests his profits instead of spending them is not losing enjoyment. He is securing freedom. The athlete who trains while others sleep is not losing rest. He is building a body capable of victory. Everything surrendered in the name of a worthy goal is not lost. It is transformed. It returns multiplied. And the world that once called you crazy for giving it up will one day call you wise for having made the trade. So here is the law for this moment, and I want you to write it and speak it aloud. Sacrifice is not loss. It is the price of greatness. Whisper it. Say it slowly. Let it brand itself upon your consciousness, because the day will come when you are tempted to surrender your goal for the sake of ease. And in that moment, you must remember that every man pays a price, either the price of discipline today or the price of regret tomorrow. The choice is always yours. Consider again the lives of those we admire most in history. They were not spared sacrifice. They were defined by it. Lincoln bore years of ridicule, defeat, and solitude before his vision of unity was realized. Columbus faced rejection, mockery, and repeated failure before his voyage changed the map of the world. Each of these men gave up comfort, safety, and approval. Each of them was called crazy, and yet their sacrifices purchased legacies that still echo centuries later. If they had clung to comfort, we would not speak their names today. Sacrifice is the silent currency of greatness. Now let me address the fear that often hides beneath the question of sacrifice. People ask, what if I give up comfort and never succeed? What if I pay the price and never see the reward? And here is the truth. The reward is certain, because the law is certain. You cannot plant seeds of persistence, discipline, and sacrifice without reaping a harvest. It may not arrive on the timetable you demand, and it may not look exactly as you first imagined, but the harvest is inevitable. Life always pays back what is invested in it, and the man who persists in sowing wisely will never be left without a return. So let the crowd call you crazy when you sacrifice. Let them laugh when you say no to the comforts they worship. Let them shake their heads when you walk a different road. They do not see what you see. They do not know what you know. You are living by a higher law, one that guarantees results. And when your harvest arrives, they will no longer call you crazy. They will call you fortunate, as though fortune had anything to do with it. They will call you lucky, as though luck were anything but the name the average man gives to discipline he does not understand. So I urge you once again to write down this law and make it your own. I gladly pay the price of sacrifice, for it is the currency of my greatness. Say it in the morning, when comfort whispers to stay in bed. Say it at night when distractions beckon for your attention. Say it in the very moments when doubt tempts you to turn back. Let it remind you that you are not losing, you are investing, and the return on that investment will be far greater than anything the crowd could ever imagine. Now let us consider what it truly means to win, because the title of this message is not that they'll call you crazy forever, it is that they'll call you crazy until you win. That small word "until" carries within it the promise of transformation. It is the line between laughter and applause, between mockery and respect, between doubt and admiration. Winning is the fulcrum upon which opinion pivots. But what is winning? For many, it is mistaken as the mere accumulation of money, applause, or recognition. Yet winning is far more profound. Winning is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. Winning is the quiet knowledge that you are moving toward the vision you have set for yourself, day after day, step after step. It is not sudden, it is not random. It is the result of design, of discipline, of deliberate effort repeated until the invisible becomes visible. Most people believe that winning comes in bursts, that some lightning strike of fortune elevates one man above another, but nothing could be further from the truth. Fortune is not lightning. Fortune is the harvest of seeds sown with consistency. Show me a man who is called crazy, and I will show you a man who is sowing seeds the world cannot yet see. The ridicule, the doubt, the laughter, all of it is simply the waiting season before harvest. The farmer does not despair when he sees only soil, because he knows what lies beneath. In the same way, you must not despair when others cannot see your results. Winning begins beneath the surface. Winning begins in thought, then in habit, then in persistence, and only at the appointed season does it break forth into the visible world. The true test, therefore, is not whether you are called crazy, it is whether you persist long enough for your vision to ripen. Many surrender in the waiting season. They hear the laughter, they feel the sting of mockery, and they decide that perhaps the crowd was right. And in doing so, they uproot the very seeds that would have borne fruit. Persistence is the bridge between being called crazy and being called victorious. It is the unglamorous, often unseen bridge that most will never cross. They will ridicule you today, and they will continue to ridicule you tomorrow. But if you keep walking, one day the very landscape changes. One day they will wake up and see that you are no longer where they left you. You have crossed the bridge, and they are still on the other side. Winning, then, is not about sudden triumph, but about patient consistency. It is about aligning your thoughts, your actions, and your discipline so completely with your vision that time itself bends to your will. Let us be clear, there is no neutral ground. You are either moving closer to your goal or drifting farther from it. Every thought you hold, every action you take, every habit you form is either pulling you toward victory or pushing you toward defeat. And so winning is not a mystery. Winning is law. As you sow, so shall you reap. As you think, so shall you become. As you persist, so shall you prevail. Now I want you to pause and take this law into your own hands. Write it down not as my words, but as your own affirmation. I am walking the bridge between doubt and victory. Every step I take, no matter how small, carries me closer to my goal. Let that sink into you. Do not just read it, say it, whisper it, own it. Because the moment you claim it, you place yourself among the rare few who understand that winning is not an event, but a process. And in that process, ridicule is nothing more than background noise. You may think to yourself, but how long must I persist? How long must I endure being misunderstood? And the answer is as long as it takes. Time is not your enemy, it is your ally. The world measures by hours and days, but success measures by principles. If it takes a year, then a year is a small price. If it takes a decade, then a decade is still worth the harvest, because when the day of victory comes, it erases the ridicule of 1,000 yesterdays. When the results arrive, no one will remember how long it took. They will only see that you endured when others gave up, and endurance is the crown of the victorious. But let me caution you, winning requires clarity. You cannot persist toward a fog. You cannot dedicate your days to a shadow. Your goal must be clear, defined, and written. A man without a clear goal is like a ship without a rudder. He may be moving, but he is drifting, and drifting always leads to shipwreck. If you have not yet written your goal on paper, do it now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Write what you desire most. Write it as though it is already yours, and then let that written word become the compass by which you steer your days. This act alone separates you from the 95 out of 100 who drift through life. Once you have your goal, once you have your vision written clearly, you must impress it upon your mind daily. You must rehearse it in thought, in word, in imagination, because what you hold in your mind you attract into your life. This is not magic, it is law. The man who thinks daily of defeat will unconsciously shape his actions to ensure it. The man who thinks daily of victory will unconsciously shape his actions to create it. And so I say again, winning is law. You cannot escape it. You cannot bypass it. You can only align with it or resist it. So when they call you crazy, remember that they are measuring by appearances, while you are measuring by principles. They see only the soil, you see the seed. They see only the waiting, you see the harvest. They see only your persistence, you see the inevitable result. This is why you must never surrender to their laughter. You must instead anchor yourself in law, in clarity, and in persistence. And when you feel weary, when you wonder if the day of victory will ever come, I want you to speak these words aloud. I am already winning. With every thought, every action, every habit, I am becoming the person I was destined to be. Say it until the doubt fades. Say it until the laughter no longer wounds. Say it until you know that you are not waiting for victory. You are already living it, one step at a time. Let us move now to one of the most vital elements in the making of a winner: discipline. Discipline is the invisible architecture upon which all greatness is built. It is the quiet strength that guides your steps when emotions scream against you. It is the steady hand that turns your vision into reality, not once, not occasionally, but day after day, year after year. The crowd despises discipline because it demands consistency, and consistency exposes the weakness of comfort. This is why when you practice discipline, when you say no to impulses, when you say yes to routines, when you obey the plan you have set, the undisciplined will look upon you with scorn. They will call you rigid, they will call you obsessed, and yes, once again they will call you crazy. But make no mistake, discipline is the very instrument by which you will silence them in the end. Understand this. Without discipline, desire is nothing more than a dream. Without discipline, vision is nothing more than fantasy. Discipline is the bridge that carries you from intention to realization. A man may say, I want success, I want freedom, I want wealth. But if he cannot rise each morning with purpose, if he cannot master the small daily habits that appear mundane, then he will forever remain chained to his wants. The man who disciplines himself, however, transforms his wants into certainties. He does not leave success to chance. He builds it brick by brick, through actions so consistent that they become identity itself. Now here is the challenge. Discipline will often feel like loss in the moment. It will feel like denying yourself pleasures, denying yourself indulgences, denying yourself rest. And to the undisciplined, this looks like suffering. But remember what we learned earlier. Sacrifice is not loss, it is investment. Discipline is not suffering, it is sowing. Each moment you discipline yourself, you are sowing seeds that will multiply into rewards beyond measure. The athlete disciplines his body, and in return he gains strength. The scholar disciplines his mind, and in return he gains wisdom. The entrepreneur disciplines his habits, and in return he gains wealth. Discipline is always rewarded. Write this law and say it with me. Discipline is my greatest freedom. Speak it aloud. Let it settle into your mind. Say it not once, but until your spirit agrees with it. Because though the crowd thinks discipline is bondage, the truth is the opposite. The man without discipline is a slave to moods, to impulses, to distractions. He does what he feels like doing, and therefore accomplishes little. The disciplined man, on the other hand, is free. Free to build, free to create, free to achieve, because he is no longer shackled to the momentary whims that enslave others. Consider the great pyramids, the cathedrals, the inventions that reshaped the world. None of them were built in a single day of inspiration. They were built through the relentless march of discipline, stone by stone, step by step. The men who built them were not applauded in the process. They were often ridiculed, doubted, and scorned. But their discipline outlasted their critics, and today, centuries later, the critics are forgotten, while the fruits of discipline still stand. So too will it be with you. Your critics will fade, their laughter will vanish, but the results of your discipline will stand as monuments to your persistence. Yet, discipline is not only about great projects. It is about small victories repeated, rising at the hour you promised yourself. Reading the page you committed to, practicing the skill you vowed to master, refusing the indulgence that weakens your resolve. Each small act of discipline, though invisible in the moment, compounds. And in time, those compounded acts create a life so strong, so resilient, that the undisciplined can scarcely comprehend it. This is why they call you crazy, because they cannot imagine living with such consistency. And yet that consistency is the very essence of freedom. Think of the man who disciplines his finances. He saves, he invests, he restrains himself from unnecessary spending. His peers laugh, calling him stingy, calling him paranoid. But when the years pass, when storms come, he stands secure while they scramble. Or the woman who disciplines her health. She eats well, exercises, restrains from indulgences. Her friends call her obsessed. But when time passes, she thrives while they decay. Discipline always speaks last, and its voice is victory. So I tell you again, discipline is not optional for the one who seeks to win. It is the non-negotiable law. Without it, you drift. With it, you direct. Without it, you crumble. With it, you conquer. And though the world may mock you in the process, though they may call you rigid, though they may whisper that you have gone too far, one day your results will be undeniable. And then the same people who doubted you will call you fortunate, as though fortune had anything to do with it. So take your pen and write this affirmation once more and make it your own. Discipline is my greatest freedom. Whisper it in the quiet moments when you want to quit. Say it aloud when the weight of routine feels heavy. Repeat it when others laugh at your persistence. Because when you do, you anchor yourself to the one principle that will carry you across every obstacle and silence every doubt. Now let us explore the inner battlefield upon which every victory is first won or lost, the battlefield of attitude. You see, your attitude is not a decoration. It is not something you put on when the day is bright and discard when the storm comes. Your attitude is the lens through which you view the world, and that lens colors everything you see. A man with a defeated attitude can walk into opportunity and see only obstacles. A man with a victorious attitude can walk into obstacles and see only opportunity. This is why two men can face the same circumstance, and one will crumble while the other rises. The difference is not in the circumstance, but in the attitude with which they meet it. Attitude is contagious. It radiates from you like light or casts from you like shadow. People respond not to the words you speak, but to the spirit in which you carry yourself. A man who believes himself beaten will unconsciously teach others to treat him as defeated. A woman who believes herself worthy will, without a word, command respect. Attitude is not hidden. It seeps into your walk, your tone, your choices. And if you wish to win, you must discipline your attitude as carefully as a soldier sharpens his weapon. Because life will not always hand you ease, but it will always mirror your inner stance. Now let me tell you something startling. Your environment, your results, your opportunities, they are not accidents. They are mirrors, reflecting back to you the image you hold within. If you are dissatisfied with what you see around you, do not curse the mirror. Change the image. Change your attitude. For the man who carries gratitude in his heart will see blessings everywhere. The man who carries bitterness in his heart will see obstacles everywhere. Life reflects who we are more faithfully than any polished glass. And the man who understands this never again wastes energy blaming others, because he knows the root lies within. But here lies the difficulty. Attitude is not tested in moments of ease. It is tested in moments of pressure. Anyone can smile when the sun is shining. Anyone can believe when the road is smooth. The test comes when storms rise, when doubts surround, when the crowd calls you crazy and your own heart begins to whisper the same. In those moments, attitude is either your anchor or your undoing. The average man allows his attitude to be shaped by circumstance. The victorious man shapes his attitude in advance, regardless of circumstance. This is the secret. This is the discipline, to decide before the storm how you will stand within it. And so I urge you now, write down this law and speak it aloud until it becomes your shield. My attitude creates my world. Say it once, say it again, let it echo in your mind until it becomes second nature. Because when you believe this law, you gain mastery over your destiny. You stop being a victim of circumstance, and you start becoming the architect of your results. If you believe the world is hostile, it will appear so. If you believe the world is rich with opportunity, it will reveal itself. The choice is always yours. Think of the pioneers, the inventors, the leaders who stood against ridicule. They did not carry attitudes of fear or resentment. They carried attitudes of faith, conviction, and possibility. When the Wright brothers faced failure after failure, their attitude was not defeat, but determination. When Edison faced thousands of unsuccessful experiments, his attitude was not despair, but discovery. When every voice said, "It cannot be done," their attitude said, "It will be done." And that is why history remembers them. Not because they faced no obstacles, but because they chose an attitude that refused to yield. This means that winning is not about escaping storms, but about deciding how you will walk through them. Picture the sailor who faces rough seas. He cannot calm the ocean, but he can set his sails. He cannot stop the wind, but he can harness it. Attitude is the setting of your sails. If you set them right, even the fiercest storm will carry you forward. If you set them wrong, even a gentle breeze will leave you stranded. And so I ask you, how have you set your sails? Have you allowed the opinions of others, the laughter of the crowd, the sting of doubt to lower them? Or have you raised them high, determined to reach your destination no matter what the winds may be? There is no neutrality here. You cannot avoid attitude. You either master it or it masters you. You either choose it consciously or it chooses you unconsciously. And if you let it choose for you, it will always choose the path of least resistance, the path of defeat. But if you take control, if you write the law upon your heart, then nothing outside of you can determine your fate. The ridicule of others will glance off you like rain on stone. The storms of circumstance will only prove your resolve, because you will have built your foundation not upon shifting sands, but upon the solid rock of chosen attitude. So I ask you now, as plainly as I can, what attitude will you choose? Will you choose bitterness, or will you choose gratitude? Will you choose fear, or will you choose faith? Will you choose defeat, or will you choose victory? The choice, though simple, will alter the entire trajectory of your life. For your attitude is not a small thing, it is everything. And if you will discipline it, if you will claim it, if you will declare it each day, then no storm, no ridicule, no obstacle can keep you from the destiny that is waiting for you. And so as we close this part, take your pen and write once more, "My attitude creates my world." Say it with conviction. Say it until it becomes the melody of your thoughts. Say it until you no longer need to remind yourself, because it has become who you are, and then carry it with you into every storm, every doubt, every whisper of ridicule. For when you do, the world will have no choice but to reflect it back to you in the form of victory. There is another dimension we must address, and it may be the most misunderstood of all, the role of faith. Not faith in the abstract, not faith as a vague religious sentiment, but faith as a living, practical force that shapes your every action. Faith is the unseen energy that fuels persistence when evidence is scarce. Faith is the assurance that the seeds you have planted will break through the soil, even when days and weeks pass with no sign of growth. Without faith, discipline soon becomes drudgery. Without faith, sacrifice feels like loss. Without faith, vision collapses under the weight of doubt. This is why the man without faith is quickly broken by ridicule. He cannot endure what he does not yet see. But the man with faith walks calmly through the storm, knowing the sun will shine again. He is called crazy, but within his heart he carries certainty. Understand this. Every great achievement begins twice, once in the mind and once in reality. Faith is the bridge between the two. The mind conceives it, faith sustains it, and action makes it manifest. If you look closely at the world's greatest leaders, inventors, and builders, you will notice something remarkable. They believed in their vision long before the evidence appeared. Columbus believed there was land across the sea when the experts swore he was wrong. Edison believed he could light the world when failure screamed otherwise. Every so-called crazy man who became a winner shared this one trait, faith that would not yield. Now here is the law, and I want you to speak it and write it until it echoes within you. I walk by faith, not by doubt. Say it softly, say it boldly. Let it become your anthem. Because in moments when the ridicule grows loud, you will need a voice louder still inside you, and that voice must be faith. Faith says, I am not bound by appearances. Faith says the vision I hold is more real than the doubts I hear. Faith says, though others call me crazy, I am certain of my destiny. And when faith becomes your dominant thought, the world cannot help but rearrange itself to match it. You may ask, but how do I build such faith? How do I strengthen it when doubts surround me? The answer is repetition. Just as a muscle is built through repeated use, faith is built through repeated thought. Write your goal, read it daily, speak it aloud, imagine it as already accomplished. Surround yourself with the words and images that reinforce your belief. The mind cannot help but believe what it sees and hears consistently. And so, if you flood it with vision, it will yield faith. But if you flood it with fear, it will yield doubt. This is why environment matters. Guard your mind as carefully as a farmer guards his fields. Do not allow the weeds of negativity to take root, for they will strangle the very harvest you seek. Think of the airplane, heavy and bound by gravity, yet capable of flight. How? Because the law of lift, when applied with precision, overcomes the law of gravity. In the same way, the law of faith, when applied with persistence, overcomes the law of doubt. Doubt is natural, doubt is universal, but doubt need not be final. Faith, when exercised, always rises higher. It takes what seems impossible and turns it into the inevitable. And this is why faith is misunderstood. The crowd cannot see what you see. They cannot feel the certainty you feel. They only see the weight of gravity, while you see the power of lift. They call you crazy because they do not understand the law that carries you. And let me remind you, faith is not passive. Faith does not sit idly and wait. Faith acts. Faith works. Faith endures. The man who claims to have faith but refuses to act has only illusion. True faith expresses itself in work, in sacrifice, in persistence. It is seen not in words, but in the quiet daily actions that align with belief. When you rise early, when you persist through ridicule, when you discipline yourself in the unseen hours, that is faith made visible. And in time, the results will shout what your words whispered. So let the world call you crazy. Let them laugh at your belief in something they cannot yet see. Let them whisper doubts when you speak of visions they cannot comprehend. Their laughter is not proof of your folly, it is proof of your faith. For faith always looks like madness until it becomes reality. And when the day comes, when your vision stands solid and undeniable, the same voices that mocked will marvel, and they will call you fortunate, as though fortune had anything to do with it. So write it again and let it be carved into your heart. I walk by faith, not by doubt. Say it when the harvest seems distant. Say it when the ridicule grows loud. Say it until faith becomes the rhythm of your being. For when you live by faith, ridicule loses its power, doubt loses its grip, and destiny itself bends to your belief. And now we come to the culmination of everything we have spoken of, the quiet transformation that takes place when vision, sacrifice, discipline, and faith have done their work. For the truth is, you will not be called crazy forever. The laughter, the whispers, the mockery, these are but temporary shadows cast upon the rising light of your destiny. And when you endure, when you persist, when you refuse to abandon the laws that govern success, the world will turn. The very mouths that once dismissed you will now seek your words. The very eyes that once looked down upon you will look up. The same crowd that once said, "He is mad, she is foolish," will now say, "How wise, how fortunate." And yet you will know it was never madness, never luck, it was law, applied patiently, faithfully, relentlessly. Let me tell you why this matters. Because in the end, the purpose of winning is not simply applause or recognition. These things, while sweet for a moment, are shallow if they are the only prize. The deeper purpose of winning is transformation. It is the becoming of a person who no longer bends under ridicule, who no longer sways under doubt, who no longer drifts with the tides of opinion. The true victory is not what you gain, but who you become. And who you become is a man or woman forged by vision, strengthened by sacrifice, upheld by discipline, and lifted by faith. This, above all, is what they cannot take from you. This is why, in the end, even if the applause never comes, you will still have won. Consider again the rhythm of history. Every figure who stood alone against the tide of ridicule eventually found himself standing at the shore of admiration. Galileo, once condemned, now celebrated. Socrates, once mocked, now revered. Every voice that dared to differ was called crazy in its time. And yet the passage of time always vindicates truth. It may take years, it may take decades, but the laws of success and greatness are not bound by immediate recognition. They are eternal, and they always deliver their verdict in the end. If you align yourself with those laws, the world has no choice but to catch up. But I must tell you, even in that moment when the applause comes, you must not live for it. For applause fades, approval shifts, what is celebrated today may be forgotten tomorrow. If you anchor your spirit to the cheers of others, you will once again be their prisoner. No, anchor yourself instead to the eternal principles we have spoken of. Anchor yourself to vision, to sacrifice, to discipline, to faith. These do not fade. These do not change. These will hold you steady long after the noise of recognition is past. And in that steadiness, you will find peace. So here is the final law I want you to write down, to speak aloud, and to carry with you as a shield. I am unmoved by ridicule, unbound by doubt, and certain of my victory. Say it with conviction. Whisper it in the silence of the morning. Declare it when the world shouts against you. Let it become the final imprint upon your mind, for it will sustain you when everything else fades. The truth is this: they will call you crazy until you win. But winning is inevitable when you align your life with the laws that govern success. The law of thought, that you become what you think about. The law of sacrifice, that nothing great is gained without a price. The law of discipline, that persistence in small things builds greatness in large things. The law of faith, that belief is the substance of reality. And the law of attitude, that the world reflects what you carry within. These laws do not fail. They have carried men and women from obscurity to greatness for centuries, and they will carry you if you will commit to them fully. So take courage. Do not shrink back when laughter comes. Do not falter when whispers grow loud. Do not surrender when the world doubts you. For these are the very signs that you are on the right path. These are the proofs that you are daring to live differently. And if you will endure, if you will persist, if you will hold fast, then one day the voices will change. And when they do, you will not need their validation, for you will already know what you have become. And so I close with this challenge to you. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Take the laws you have heard, write them down, speak them daily, live them faithfully. Plant them in the soil of your mind until they grow into the towering tree of your destiny. And when you stand beneath its shade, when you hold its fruit, when the world looks at you in awe and whispers of your success, remember that it all began in the days when they called you crazy. And you will smile because you will know that being called crazy was the greatest compliment you ever received.